Ladies and gentlemen, I present you 3990X with big liquid cooling loop, and this is how it works. Maybe you can hear it. That's the sound from about 50 centimeters. But the thing is that CPU is already rendering for 1 hour. The second thing is that it's rendering in overclocking 3.7 gigahertz. So yes, well, it is regulated in BIOS. This profile is not the highest profile that you cannot use with this CPU with this build, but for 3.8 and 3.9 gigahertz, the client will use standard fan regulation. Let's say standard, that means I regulated it, but it's higher. This one is a silent profile, and at silent profile we have about 30 decibels. So this is the profile that is efficient, but it still remains very silent. All the other configuration is made in BIOS, so the frequencies of the voltage regulators and the power of the CPU, because this is Asus motherboard, so it is regulated that we can use Ryzen Master to change the profile of the CPU on fly in Windows. So there are a few profiles that can be used: 3.5, 3.7, 3.8 and 3.9, and those can be changed on fly in Windows. And yeah, so that is how it works. It is under 75 degrees still, so having it under 75 degrees, the efficiency clock will be still running at almost full speed of perfect clocks, which I have already shown you in previous videos. So if the CPU, so any Threadripper Ryzen 3 will be exceeding 75 degrees, the effective clock will be dropping. So this one is not dropping, and it is very nicely going through all the benchmarks. I will show it later. And the funny thing is that, yeah, there's a Cryorig additional fan which is cooling right now VRM section, and this fan makes the section go for about 69 degrees. So in fact, having it on 3.7 gigahertz without this fan and on original fans, those small fans would be running on Asus Zenith 2 Extreme Alpha, would be going as high as 10,000 RPMs. Well, this is annoying sound, so this sound is cut by exactly this additional Cryorig fan, which is also with the restrictor, so it is running on low RPMs. Okay, so let's go now for the outcomes of this build. Hi, previously I showed you how it works in Blender. Now I would like to show you how it works and how it is built. So it is built on 3990X. This CPU is on the motherboard of Asus Zenith 2 Extreme Alpha. The VRM fans are off. I've mounted another fan, which is Cryorig from A40 or A80, and we have two big radiators, 480 millimeters and 360 millimeters. D5 pump with quantum kinetic tube, and 3090 RTX from Asus. This is TUF version. The discs are M.2, and the main disc is Samsung 970 Evo Plus. And so what kind of efficiency we are looking at? So we will have in Blender at 3.5 gigahertz we have 1 hour 21. At 3.7 we have 1 hour 17 almost. At very silent we have 1 hour 17 minutes. At 3.8 we have 1 hour 15 minutes, and at 3.9 we have 1 hour 13 minutes almost. Against this same CPU on Air we have which is getting about 1 hour 45 minutes without regulation, with regulation for about 1 hour 42 minutes. This is much better score. As you can see, even when we are having this Blender running for 1 hour 13 minutes, we still have only 81 degrees at VRM, which is not achievable with those two very small fans on big block of big chunk, I would say, even of steel or other metal, which is VRM at Zenith to Extreme Alpha. And this is very inefficient way of cooling, because there should be fins on heat pipe, but there are not. So this even restricted by this restrictor CPU VRM fan from Cryorig will be much more efficient than those two little fans. So in Corona, regulated in BIOS 25 million, regulated in BIOS and 3.5 gigahertz, we have 16 seconds, 29 millions almost. 3.7 again, almost 30 million raised. 3.8 we have 15 seconds, 31 almost, and at 3.9 31 400 something, so 31.5 million of raised. Of course, VRM section doesn't even get close to any temperature. So this is a score for 3.8, 8500, and this is for graphics, 2D graphics of 3090 RTX TUF. For 3D graphics, for CPU mark at 3.9, this time we have 86,000. This is for the disk, this is for memory, so this is only quad channel and 4 sticks, so very nice. This is for overall rating, 8771. This is for 3.9, and this is rating for only regulated in BIOS, so 7154, and the CPU scores only 67,000. This is regulated in BIOS 48. This is 3.5 gigahertz, so 7,000 more, so a big jump. This is 63 at 3.8 gigahertz, and this is 69 383 on 3.9, and this is as you can see in test it had only about 69 degrees max. So yeah, that's the efficiency of the beast. Of course it is also tested with OCCT full spectrum of tests. So yeah, and the funny thing is that well, I'm giving all the tests because this is enterprise version, so it's good to have it because you can just put the tests that should be running and it is running, and that's all. 3.9 gigahertz and everything is said, monitoring how it is done, GPU usage, memory usage, how the temperatures are spreading. You can see that we had about 70 degrees. So yeah, that's the way this works. So below, for sure, below 33 decibels, and we have it running very nicely. As you can see, we are still sitting by it by open case, so that's the fun part, that you can have 3.8 gigahertz and you can run, let's say, V-Ray. Boom. Oh yeah, and the PSU is AX 1600i. This is Corsair, and it has to be like that because this is a very beefy CPU which takes a lot of let's say amps on this line. So that's the problem, where it's this shows that this section should be for 2 PSUs. It would be much easier, I think, if there would be a motherboard for 2 PSUs. We would have it clear that we are getting 2 PSUs, and that's the case, and we are able to run it more efficiently. But I am really happy now that this idea of having this fan here turned out to be so good, because I was previously using magnitude. Okay, now 3.8 gigahertz, who would know, 65,000. Well, thank you Windows, we are getting, let's say, a range from 63.5 to 65,000. Okay, never mind. Yeah, Microsoft testing on users, great. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Bye.